Welcome to our first webinar of Ride Local, where we drive people happy with our Driverpreneur management system, where we provide a free ride for every new rider. My name is Angelo, Darin. I'll be your host tonight. We have two guests with us tonight. Jonathan Hitt, who is our VIP Driverpreneur, and Dawn Keller with Explore Grand Rapids. Let me first welcome Dawn to the audience today and go ahead and tell us a little bit about Explore Grand Rapids.
Well, thank you, Angelo. Explore Grand Rapids is a platform for customers to be able to enjoy their nights out. So they don't have to worry about walking in the snow and, how far they have to get to wherever they're going. And they also don't have to worry about parking. We do have different categories, and one is the nightlife, where you can go to a dinner and then start going bar hopping with your friends. Or we have different concerts. We have Elton John coming up. We have all kinds of new stuff coming up, and we offer it for three different tiers. One is just for a ticket only, the other is the ticket and transportation, and then the third is with the dinner as well. So we welcome people to come and check out Explore Grand Rapids.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. And Jonathan Hitt, why don't you just give a little brief, introduce yourself, and then also a little brief something about yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Jonathan Hitt. I've been a rideshare driver part-time for north of 4 years with Lyft and Uber. Over 5,400 rides in total. I've got north of 4.8 ratings on both apps. And I'm the first VIP Driverpreneur to help Ride Local and Explore Grand Rapids launch here in Grand Rapids. Looking forward to the experience.
Yeah, and believe me, we welcome you aboard, and you bring a lot to the plate, not only for us as Ride Local, but also for our future Driverpreneurs. Anyhow, before I forget, if you notice in the right-hand corner of your screen, you'll notice Grand Rapids Rideshare Adventures. I want to give a shout out to them on their podcast. And the reason why I do is because they give you the latest new industry, community industry information as far as tips and trips and tricks, as far as giving you the news, the new news that comes into our marketplace. You can visit their podcast and you go ahead and listen to some of their old podcasts at GR Rideshare. You can find them on Facebook at GR Rideshare. Welcome aboard. Look at some of their videos that they've had, their podcast videos, and that way you can get up to date as far as the latest news in our industry. All right, we're going to move it on a little bit right now. And the first thing I really want to talk about is our rideshare in 2019 and what it is. What we've been faced with in 2019, not only as individual riders, but also as drivers within the rideshare industry. Now, there was a time where rideshare, when it first came out, it was the thing of the future, and everybody looked at it as the thing of the future. Obviously, transportation, our infrastructure is going to increase in technology, and that with it has come the rideshare industry. Both in Lyft and Uber went public this year, and they listed themselves on the stock market. The problem is both of them haven't been profitable, and there have been a lot of issues in the industry regarding driver care and as far as safety with the riders. One of the things that they were experiencing is the competition, and every time when people don't feel things are fair, you're going to start experiencing competition because someone's going to come out of the gate and say that I can do it better. We've had that. We've had a lot of them that have failed. Juno in New York. They made it maybe 2 years and so on. They were sold out after a year, and then they were bought by a company again of Get in the Middle East. The other thing is like growing competition just in our area as far as we're starting to see rideshare companies that have more of a niche market, such as maybe providing services for childcare, taking kids back and forth to school or sporting events, and another way is as far as seniors getting them to a doctor's appointments. The other thing is government regulations, because of all the buzz in the media and so on, and all the drivers and riders are disgruntled, they're having issues. Then government regulations start stepping on, where they're starting to regulate the industry. Every time when the industry gets regulated, every time it gets regulated, it does one thing, and it drives our prices up, and it also makes it hard for competition. It really does. It closes the playing field, and it really locks people out to becoming competitive. And that's a bad thing, because once we do that, we don't have free enterprise anymore. We have locked monopoly. And really, that's not good for local community as well as our country. The other thing they're getting into is a price and profitability. Lyft and Uber are big for that. We all know it because they drive prices down a lot. The biggest problem with that is that once Uber does it, Lyft does it, they follow suit back and forth. So the rider, they make out because they're getting reduced rides, but the person that really does it is the driver. So really, there's not a win-win situation for everybody on that platform. The other thing is new revenue streams. Now you're starting to see new revenues come in the market because the profitability of driving isn't there. So now they start coming out with companies like Cargo Box or Freebird. But every one of these additional revenue streams, what do? Who do they benefit the most? Two people. They actually benefit the people who are providing it, like Cargo Box or Freebird or something like that, because that's where the money's really coming from. And they throw pennies to the driver, when the driver is the one that's driving all the business, but they only get pennies because of driving the business, where the big culprits are corporate America. The other thing is lawsuits. Now we're bringing in lawsuits, and we've heard it over and over in the media, someone getting stabbed, or maybe someone being victimized, and then they're starting to sue, or maybe their wages on the driver end, their wages aren't, they feel they're not making minimum wage. So now you're starting to have labor issues with lawsuits and stuff. And that's really where we're at right now. We want to level the playing field. We want to change things, and that's really what we're about. We want to bring back down to the local market. We want to show you right now we have Uber and Lyft in our Grand Rapids area, and then we have West Michigan Rideshare in Interurban Transit Partnership, which is operated by the Rapid, which is a needed service to provide for the community. We support them wholeheartedly. Reliable, non-emergency medical transport in Grand Rapids. Good company, good service, provide a lot of benefit to the public, and we're behind them all the way. The problem is when you get into the Uber and Lyft sector, which we call everyday rideshare, or so to speak, the now type of movement, where somebody wants to ride now or within a short period of time, and they want it as fast as they can get it. So the reliability and the speed's got to be there. That's the now segment of today, and that's really what people are going for. So what we want to try to do is level the playing field by providing a service similar to Uber and Lyft. The difference is our service is different. We perfected it. We've seen all the problems in the industry. We've tried to combat those problems. The second thing that we've done is we looked at all the positive aspects of various rideshares throughout the country, some of them not even in the United States. And we looked at the positive aspects of what they were delivering to their customer, and we liked a lot of the positive stuff. That's what we adopted. And so we can't take credit that we came up with everything, because we didn't. I talked to a lot of gurus in the industry when we were doing a lot of research in this, and a lot of the gurus told me what we needed in order to compete in the market, and what would make it a good ride share with the possibility of being not only profitable, but also a possibility of being a long stay in the marketplace. So now we're in the Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're limited on rideshare. We have some people that never use it. We have some people that get disgruntled because of pricing surging and prime time pricing, where you have some that get upset. I've known customers that have told me they got upset, and they got so upset that they just use other forms of alternative transportation. So that in that case, Uber or Lyft are losing market share. And then I've heard other people where they kind of like, before they do it, they think about it, or they try to plan other means of transportation before they even think of do it. So, and then you have the other ones that, because of frequency and stuff, and because of reliability and speed, they just go ahead and do it on a regular basis. So now we get to our next slide, and really what we want to talk about is what's in the industry, what are the issues facing. In order to do that, in order for us to even be good in the marketplace, or even offer any type of value, not only to the riders, but to the drivers as well, is we have to look at what the industry is and see how we're going to handle that or combat that industry to improve on it. Anyhow, I'd like to turn this over to Jonathan Hitt. Since he's out on the road, boots on the ground, he knows what we go through. He's been there. He's worked for the Rideshare for quite a while. He's been doing this for a while. He's perfected it, and he can give you a lot of valuable information. So I'd like to turn this over to Jonathan Hitt to talk a little bit about some of the issues faced in the rideshare industry. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thanks, Angelo. So like I said earlier, I've been driving part-time for north of 4 years. I've seen it all. I've had bad experiences, great experiences, conversations, good and bad at both ends of the spectrum. And when it comes to driving, I'm out there to make money. I know that it's transformed the way that I communicate, listen, and look at businesses altogether because I've been in sales and marketing for north of 6 years. And biggest frustration right now is that Lyft and Uber, neither of them have an incentive for me to make a profit. And when I go out there and do the driving, these companies are taking a third or 2/3 of what I'm earning as far as the fare goes and what the customer is paying, the rider. And a 1099, there's a lot of expenses that go into running a small vehicle-based company. And Lyft and Uber aren't really stepping up and trying to help me succeed. They just want their piece. And it's getting more and more expensive. That piece, that commission, is undesirable. And that's really why I want to jump on helping Ride Local launch here in Grand Rapids, is that they pay me 100% of the fare. That's awesome. I'm also not limited to just driving in the vehicle. So with Explore Grand Rapids, there's another opportunity with every time that a rider steps into my vehicle, I can close another sale potentially and earn some of that revenue that they have on their night out to the bar, restaurant, music, or sports event. Here, I'm also treated like a business partner instead of an employee that's totally expendable, where they could cut me at any time. If a rider is having a bad day, they say that I brandished a weapon, or I did something wrong, broke the traffic law, or they just don't like me personally, they have the ability to terminate my relationship with Lyft or Uber with me driving out to the middle of Allendale for a $2.60 or $2.80 fare and driving back to Grand Rapids. That's a negative cash flow scenario, putting in almost an hour for $2.60.
Right.
And Lyft and Uber loyalty to the rider and no loyalty to me as the driver because I'm completely replaceable. I'm expendable. And with Ride Local, you know, I'm a valuable part of launching the business, maintaining it, and building it. Grand Rapids as a whole, the other drivers that are the boots on the ground, running their small businesses and turning into local entrepreneurs. And that's really exciting, you know, helping other people understand how to operate a profitable business from day one. And I like that I have the ability to go in and build a niche in the Grand Rapids market. I'm very interested in working with restaurants, kitchen managers, and the staff in the front of house, back of house, and the suppliers. If I could brand myself as Johnny Hustle and make that side income, that'd be awesome. And I get to talk about that in the car. The other thing that I really don't appreciate is that Lyft and Uber see my potential relationship with the rider, be it friendly, platonic, or otherwise. They see that as a potential threat that I'm going to remove them from the loop, and they don't want me to see that rider again because I'm guessing they see a threat of me transitioning into a cash business or taking 100% of that revenue from them.
I think a lot if I may interject a little bit, I think a lot happens is that when you start getting people together collectively as a group, you start having power. So let's say if they did allow that, even I don't care if it's let's say it's on the driver's side, and they allow the drivers to correspond with each other and maybe, you know, give tips to each other. Hey, this is my experience, and maybe you can help other people doing that. But if you did that, then they're afraid on the other end of it, because collectively as drivers, they can get together. All of a sudden now you got what? You got them picketing the houses of the corporate founders or the CEOs of the company, because they're collectively getting together on something that's an issue that they want resolved at. So if I can keep them separate, I can make them scurry, and there's no power in that. And I think that's exactly why they do it. And I believe the power is in the collective group. Like you said, that some of the things that you had was on your commissions and stuff, and you like the fact platform of 100%, but there's more to it. But that's a good point to make. You're out there with the boots on the ground. You have the costs are related to the business, and yet you struggle because you don't have nothing to do with the fares. Now, this is our platform with Ride Local. The unique thing about it, we want to bring the drivers together, and then you and everybody else, right, makes collectively decisions based on what the price should be in the market. A lot of people don't know that now, but Rover and Left, they've already said it. So they have to price increase by the first of the year. And then they're going to do the 60-40 split with drivers. But that's in the buzz. That's in the media. The thing is that we want to bring them all together so drivers can sit down and say, wait a minute, this is what our competition is doing, right? So we know what the market will bear, and this is what we want to do. And this is our profitability, why we want to do it this way. So collectively as drivers, we decide and dictate pricing. Why? Because that's what we do. It's our business, right? So there's two ways you can do it. If, let's say, you're not making enough money, let's say profitability isn't in your forecast because of revenue or whatever, but there's only two culprits. It's either revenue or it's cost. Nothing else is in the way, right? So if I increase revenue, I can change the bottom line. If I decrease costs, I can change the bottom line. So in our situation, we're giving 100% of fares and tips. So we've increased the top line, which decreases or increases your bottom line. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Then we show you the fundamentals of business management, right, in order to do that. So when you get in your car, you just don't get in and put the hours in the ride and, okay, let me get 4 rides out of the way. No, you get in with a whole new mind frame. You start thinking, this is my business. How can I build it? All right, this is what I'm doing today or what I did last week on this day. How can I increase that? Not increase it by hours or brawn, but to increase it by being smart about the way I manage my business and the way I've set up operational control procedures so the bottom line is maximum and my effort is minimal. So that's really the bottom line. It's less effort, more profitability. So that's really where we want to bring you to. But anyhow, you want to hit a little bit about, some of the things you've experienced, like dealing with support. Have you ever had an issue out while you're out in the market where you had to get a hold of somebody and that became an issue? Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, if you were to call Lyft or Uber support, you could find out for yourself which one is better. And I encourage you to do that. Just practice a problem. If you had an issue with a rider or a driver or somebody else on the road, test it. See which one cares about your problem and see if they have any solution, if it's a canned response or if it's tailored to your specific need and situation, because there is a drastic difference. And I encourage you to test it so that you build your own opinion. I'm not going to tell you which one is better or worse. You're going to find out real quick.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, and maybe the listeners, and I believe it's something they're looking at, because we already talked about control over pricing, but there's other things in that platform as well. So the whole idea is for us to build our business, right, and to maintain it. But the other thing is we really believe that every company has issues. I don't care what company it is, I don't care what industry you're in. So that's why we came up with that live support. The real reason is because of the people saying, hey, every time I call them, they get back with me in 5 days. But let's get in a situation where our live support, and I just want to touch on this real briefly, because to me it's a very important factor of what we provide. On the 24 live support, I'll give you an example. Let's say, for God forbid, that there's a situation that happens that is really, it victimizes somebody. Live support can save people on that. That's one thing it can do. But the other thing that it can do with the live support is that it can give resolution to a problem you're experiencing to minimize it. So you ever had a problem, and then as that problem starts to go over time, it festers? I mean, it festers not only in you, but also around you. Well, we want to eliminate that problem at the early stature, and we do that with a live support. And that's really what we want to do. Another thing, let's say another situation I want to touch because I've had people complain or tell me about issues that they've been deactivated for no reason. There's been people that have been blanket to be deactivated. Well, the problem with that is that when you're talking about taking the livelihood about somebody, it's almost like when you terminate an employee. Same kind of deal. If I terminate an employee, I'm taking the livelihood away from that. I better think about what I'm doing, and I better make sure that I'm making an intelligent, sound decision, because it's not only going to affect that individual's life, but it's also going to affect me as well as an individual. All right, so that's very important. So when you go to deactivate somebody, you better darn well make sure that you deactivate them for the proper cause. That's one of the things that we have, is that we are transparent, but we also have the ability for you to come to us so we can do an investigation if it needed, to have an investigation quickly and promptly, and hopefully to mitigate the situation that affects anybody. Sometimes I know that there are complaints from riders, and sometimes they do it to get a free ride. I know the scams, and we all know the scams. One thing nice is collectively as drivers, we can let everybody know within our network. And the reason being is because maybe we can prevent somebody from experiencing that. Because I've talked to drivers where they took the ride, it was the wrong rider, and then the riders, complained, and obviously it was a free ride for the passenger. But it was sometimes, I really believe it might have been a setup, where the person who got in there really knew the rider, and that was all set up to get that free ride. Anyhow, I'm going to bring it back to John to have him to finish about the issues of rideshare. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry to take so much time.
Thanks for the input, Angelo. There's been a lot of additive value that I feel I brought to the table with Ride Local and Explore Grand Rapids regarding strategy, sales, and marketing, and we're building a community here. That's really it. This is going to be a data and community company. It's a lead generator right now for the drivers to go capture that revenue from the riders, and we're going to help you build the businesses, preferably with routes, and we're going to do future rollouts that are really going to improve your revenue potential for every hour that you put in and every hour that you're with the company when you're not in the car, which is incredible. Neither Uber or Lyft are trying to build my revenue when I'm not in the car. I think that's a missed opportunity for everybody. There's a lot of value that I can bring to the community, and I would like to have a little more flexibility with work-life balance rather than chasing that certain dollar amount. When Lyft or Uber say, yeah, I need you to go chase this 260 fare for an hour, and we're going to take 350 or 360 or 370, and it's just upside down from the beginning.
Right.
I think we're ready to move on to the next one. Would you agree?
Okay, I agree. All right, thanks, John. All right, now we're going to get into more of how to influence the rideshare industry. We already understand some of the problems associated with it. So in order to influence the rideshare, we give our local residents the freedom to become a driver by supplementing their income. So really what we're doing is we're bringing an opportunity for the local residents, and I know you can do it for other platforms. The difference is the profitability and also the bridging of the relationship with our company through our Driverpreneur management system. But anyhow, to prove their fares that they're receiving, so when we supplement your income, you go out there and drive, you really think it's worth it. And that's really what it's all about, is to make it worth it. And to teach and develop drivers to become, not to think as employees, but to think as entrepreneurs, a driverpreneur, by building an income producing platform that's not only bridged with riders, but it's also bridged with local businesses. And that's so important to solidifies ours in there, because really without the ride, they don't drive traffic. We drive traffic by providing rides to people. And in some situations where it comes to a venue, let's say people are drinking and so on, we're talking about getting them home safely. And that's important not only to us, but also our VIP partner, people that have partnered with us. But giving ownership by paying 100% of the fares to tips and drivers, making sure that they receive all that. And that way they can scale their business based on profitability. Because the pricing is what? Collectively, all of us making that decision based on what the market will bear and based on what our competition is doing. and then give them the ability to make decisions as business owners, and based on improving or eliminating issues that we all might face, to collectively enhance the experience of the rider, because that's really what it's all about. It's for you as a driver and for me as the Ride Local, right? For us to partner together, but the bottom line is to provide the best experience we can possibly do for the rider. Every day we should go into, when we go out driving or we go into our business, every day we should think, how can we enhance or how can we better that experience for that rider? If we can do that, I guarantee you, no competition in the world can touch us, and we can have what we truly want out of life just by helping enough other people. So give the ability to make decisions that we collectively together eliminate issues or eliminate problems that we are facing, and to provide the tools as a company and ideas to create passive income streams so that you produce financial security and peace of mind and independence. That way you're not like just the next ride from paying rent or the next ride to getting gas. Hey, let me go get that ride today, and now I can fill my tank up. You're not that far away from it. The whole idea, if I want to give you more week than you got money, or more money than you want week. Right now you got more week than money. I want to give you more money than week. And by doing that is providing a platform that's conducive for you to become successful. All right. We believe in no price gouging, such as prime time or surge pricing. And there's really the main reason is because Ride Local feels it's unfair and it's a direct violation of the United States antitrust laws. Right now, there's court cases are being pending to deal with this issue. We don't want to be in that. We don't even want to know what the ruling is. It's just our belief is we don't want to take advantage of our customers, our friends, our local residents, our community by increasing prices based on what you as a local people need. What, a ride to a local event or to a concert or a venue. And our company has always wants to be transparent with pricing and information, so we all maintain trust and integrity in our local industry. And we do this for one reason. When you start hiding or you start not showing the difference between what you receive, what the rider pays, right, and what we get, if you don't see the whole picture of the big business model, then how can you make an intelligent decision to decide to even drive for us or for anybody for that matter? So we are transparent. You want to see a breakdown? We show you the breakdown. You want to see accounting? We have accounting. Even on everything that we do, if you get to that level, that VIP driverpreneur level, where you get a passive income stream based on inviting drivers into our platform, when you get to that level, then you become getting money that you're not really working for. You've already done the work, right? You've already put the people on, you've already talked to them, you've recruited them, talked to them about the platform. They've joined. Now you receive the rewards of all your efforts. And that's really what business is about. You put all the work in, you put a lot of work in, and then you get a lot of work out. But that's how it starts. It starts by putting a massive amount of work in, and then you'll eventually get a massive amount of work. It takes time. It takes persistence. And it's not an easy thing to do, but I tell you what, the rewards are there. That's the secret of it. It's not easy to do, otherwise everybody would do it, but the rewards are there, and that's why the few do. So anyhow, we're moving right on to our next slide, dealing with more of our driverpreneur management system, and we totally believe that together we can level the field. I'd like to take this over and give this back to John a little bit, have John talk about it. Reason being is because John, being a new VIP driverpreneur, if it affected anybody greatly, it would be John, because he was the first. So he, if anybody felt the positive aspect of it or the negative aspect of it, he would be the one that you would ask those questions to. John, I'm going to give it to you. Go ahead and take it over. We'll put you on here to talk a little bit about our management system. But go ahead.
All right, thanks, Angelo. I'm really excited to get 100% of my fare. I mean, I'm going out there driving, burning the gas and time, and 66% or 75% of the fare going to a third party or my business partner doesn't seem like a fair exchange. And 100% the rider pays a booking fee, and we've talked about what memberships might look like for frequent riders. They get a discount if they pre-schedule a ride in advance. We also have that affiliate marketing. So if I need to go out there and fetch up a new business partner, be it a bar, restaurant, music, or sports event venue, there's commission on the table for that. based on sales volume and so forth. There's also the Nights Out program where somebody wants to pre-book a package to go to dinner, for example, and they've got round trips set up to and from. If they add drinks or dessert, there's more spend, and we would like to optimize the seat capacity based on trends with the restaurant and when they need those seats filled the most and when they're willing to pay a commission or a better commission. Say an hour or two before close, filling that seat, maybe they could pay a higher commission for that versus when they're guaranteed going to get too many people standing in line. The wait time is on average 2 hours at these peak times, and they really don't want to pay commission. Okay, does it make sense to send them more customers to stand in the queue? That's not really a 5-star experience. And
Right.
you know, those are relationships. If we build those relationships, understand what those partners need, we can fill the seats when they need them.
Well, it's funny. Let me just interrupt because it's funny because the other, well, I think it was last week I had a customer that was looking through our Nights Out program, you know, and they were going to go, I can't remember what venue they were going to go to, but anyhow, they looked on ours, and I think we had Billy's on ours as a VIP partner, and they decided to forego their venue that they were going to go to, and they went with Billy's. It was kind of cute. Because they got $5 off the ride. So for $5, which I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when it comes to transportation and getting home safely, it's a big deal. So that I just want to interact with that because we hear stories from people experiencing things like that, and that's really cool because it's really what we're doing means something to some people, and when we start seeing people things like that transpire, then we know what we're doing isn't just futile. You know, it means something. So go ahead, John. Sorry about that.
I pick up a lot of folks going to and from work, a lot of to and from the airport. And these folks that are going to the airport usually are going on business. They're commercial customers and their employers footing the bill. If we set up those partnerships so that these commercial customers can get there consistently without having to take their car there, park, pay that parking fee, it's more convenient, it's less stress, and we want to build something that's reliable. I know that as an Uber or Lyft driver, there's not necessarily a guaranteed profit chasing after that 13 to 16 to 18-minute fare.
Right.
Why would I take that? There might be another one that's a little closer by. That's me having to make that business decision to say, all right, I don't have faith that I'm going to make a profit on this, and I didn't mean to accept this, but there's lag in the app. I got to cancel. I got to take that closer thing.
What about that situation? Because I mean, no one in our audience knows about the functionality of our app. You know, that's something down the road. We'll show about that, and it's really state-of-the-art stuff. But anyhow, what about that situation where, you know, you can't do it with a lot of rideshare companies, but with our rideshare company, you can, where you can, let's say you took a ride, you accepted a ride, but then you realized, because you did that, right? You realized it was too far away. The profitability for you to do it wasn't good. But then you, instead of having options, you didn't have options. Your option was take it, right? And drive all that distance, or go ahead and cancel it, which, you know, that's a decision you made at that time, which is fine, but you didn't have that third option. That third option is if dispatch can reroute that rider to another driver that might be closer. So as we can transfer, like, you know, you as a driver or other drivers, they can transfer a rider somewhere. That's the beauty about it. You know what I mean? Because really, even if you have your own customers, you're servicing them when you're working, right? Obviously. But then what about those times that they decide to use rideshare and you're not working? That's where the network comes in, where all us drivers help each other with that, right? Would that make sense? Or
yeah, if you've got a loop or a lap that you hit the consistent route, it makes a lot of sense if there's a on-demand ride that pops up,
right,
and I accept it. I'm 20 minutes away, but you've finished a piece of your loop where you can go pick up that person and throw them in your car with a pool fare, for example. Yeah, that's where calling dispatch or having it seamless, you know, no fingerprints on the transaction. It's just like, hey, do you want to offer this over to Angelo because he's 4 minutes away from this rider. I was like, yeah, I'll offer that over to Angelo, no problem. I don't want to go
Hey,
chase it for 20 minutes.
when's the last time you ever had Uber or Lyft, for that matter, come to you and say, hey, John, we noticed from the figures and stuff, right? You're only making like, I don't know, $22 an hour. We want to get you up to 30. So we want to give you some fundamentals and some tools to get you up.
Never had that conversation with
That's
either one of them.
Yeah, there's no partnership. And it's if your business partner isn't working as hard as you, it's not a partnership, it's a sinking ship, right? And everybody, what's the average time Uber Lyft driver drive? 2 hours, what do they say, 2 months? Right? The average one, they come in at
The turnover is going to be 2 months, yeah.
Right. You know why that is?
They understand that they're not guaranteed profit. They don't know how to drive. They don't know what they're doing. They're too new. It takes a lot of research to understand.
Right. And it's a struggle. It really is. It's a struggle because if you're off on as far as where you're located at, if you're off on that, you make the difference between profitability and none. Right?
True.
Because of the travel and so on. So that's what I'm talking about. Say one thing nice about the Driverpreneur management system. The nice thing about it is that if, let's say, you're running your business and the profitability isn't there, or something's going on, there's something going on. Well, that's for us to locate and find that out, right? And give you the tools and ideas and the counseling in order to provide that. Because really, it's about making everybody profitable. Because we can do that, John. If we can make all people profitable or successful, what do we become? We become successful and profitable as well. So that's really our mission. So let's do people first, and then we worry about ourselves afterwards. So anyhow, that's enough for what I had to say about that. So go ahead, John.
I'm excited with some of the conversations I've had with stakeholders and support admins at some of the hospitals, nurses or support staff doctors that need to get there. It's icy out, snowy out, they're pretty exhausted, they don't trust themselves driving, but they got to do the grind that they committed to and fulfill their jobs and duties. There's another guy in the admin office making communications with the big guys, Lyft and Uber, about non-emergency medical transportation. Okay, if we can pick up some of that revenue, even a little bit of it, and execute perfectly, that market's huge, and we can expand significantly. That's almost an exponential function. It's definitely a step function where, you know, instead of 100 rides per week, you're doing 1,000 rides per week. They might be smaller, but they're on a consistent schedule. And instead of having one person in the car, you got 2 or 3.
Right.
That'd be pretty cool.
Right.
That's where you get into the $60 to $80 an hour potential revenue. Just doing the same job, but you fill those seats, you make more money and help more people. It's really important.
That makes sense. That really makes a lot of sense.
If I throw in interior or exterior advertising onto my vehicle, it could be a window sticker, could be internal, something on a tablet or 2 or a TV. Karaoke is a good tipper at night, because when you got a group of people that have had a couple of drinks at night, you know, you throw them YouTube and a karaoke mic, people like to jam out, and some people really appreciate it.
Yeah, not only that, you brought up like the exterior advertising. A lot of these things that you see on here, we are rolling out. We are already working on the program. We're already putting it together and then going to roll it out. So, I mean, exterior advertising, interior advertising, we are rolling out. Right now, our interior advertising is free for our VIP partners to be on the platform. That's part of the deal when they sign on. But the other stuff we are. Does that mean drivers can't give input? Of course not. I'll give you an example on exterior advertising. I did some marketing surveys on it and also did some research and found out, you know, how do people respond on the full wrap, half wrap, spot ads. And really, I found out that the wraps really don't, people don't want to pay for them, nor do people want them on their vehicles. And I think you get more mileage out of spot advertising. So that's some of the things that we look into to try developing that media of advertising in order to give drivers stream. But I don't think they realize that every time we put something together, there's a three-way deal going with it. I mean, it's almost like the nights out. It's also like the activity package. There's a three deal going with it. There's coming money back to the rider, money back to the driver, right? So I mean, you can be driving all night, and let's say, I just give an example. Let's say all night you're driving and you did 6 hours and you whipped out, I don't know, let's just say $400 for discussion's sake. After $400, you turn around, you just had 33 bucks that came from a venue. I mean, you would have went there anyway, took the driver there anyhow, but because we have that relationship and we're tying into the community, you benefit from it as a driver. So, I mean, those are the things that, so just because they're down in here, just like I'll give you an example, the ride, and I don't want to take a lot of time, but the ride, non-medical, medical appointments, insurance carriers, we're working on a relationship right now where we're actually almost ready to sign a deal with two large Michigan insurance companies, which is going to open that platform. Our biggest thing is to provide, I believe the pre-schedule is really neglected, and I believe people will do it, but they have to be almost like coaxed to do it, and then it's got to become a routine. So we've come up benefits by giving $2 off. We've got a ride to work, and depending on the trip, I'll give you an example. We do rides to NFL. We sell a lot of tickets for NFL, and so we give rides to an NFL game. I mean, it's part of the package if that's what they want. It's their option. But if you went from here to Detroit with Uber or Lyft, you're looking at about $158. Big difference with our cost because of the way we've structured it, because a lot of it has to do in how we structure things in order to mitigate the cost and maximize our profitability of it. So that's what we did. So as far as cost to anybody, you're looking at a third of what it would be if you went to Uber and Lyft, because we have other things that we tie to it. One thing nice about our activity packages is that we can pre-schedule people and then schedule it accordingly based on distance, based on profitability. And so that's how we enhance our profitability for our drivers, and that way they can become more profitable on a daily basis. The other thing is a network of independent business professionals, and doing that to bridge relationships, not only with our network itself, but also like Grand Rapids Rideshare Adventures, as well as some of the gurus that provide a lot of valuable information and tools for people to become a driverpreneur. And we want to tap into those resources, and some of them are you got the Rideshare Hub, I mean, there's so many of them, and you got the one in Grand Rapids that drives from Grand Haven, and I want to give a shout out to her because I think she's cool. And I like what she does, and I see her struggles and stuff. But what is that, Lady Pro? Her name is Lady Pro on YouTube. But go ahead and look her up and look at some of the other ones, because there is a lot of information in there that you can use to not only get you engaged into the industry, but find out what's coming out, as well as how to manage your business as well. So we'll provide you the tools, but then additional tools comes from the industry, and we welcome that you reach out to them as well. Okay, John, we're going to get to the next slide and stuff. Are you done with this one for the?
Yeah, last thing, if you guys haven't signed up for the Facebook group for Ride Local or Rideshare Grand Rapids, take a look. Consider signing up. We're looking for active drivers. And if you go in there every day, people are posting and boosting. It's not a lot of shade they're throwing at other drivers. It's like, yeah, man, I've been there. Here's a solution how to get through it emotionally. It's going to happen. One example, if somebody makes a mess in my car, it's a tool. It's an instrument to help me make money. I don't get too emotionally invested if I can help it when somebody makes a mess. It's just a tool that I have to clean, and cleaning is such a big thing with the car. A lot of people don't talk about how much cleaning is involved on the interior, the exterior. It's like, it's got to be clean. That's a lot of work that hopefully my tips indicate that I do a pretty good job, or a very good job on some days. Right after.
One thing nice is because our hub is really here on Roger B, and we do have warehouse and facility as far as detailing and stuff like that. So I mean, as far as accessibility, that's one thing nice too, is that not only from us, but like you and other drivers can bring things to the mix to help everybody out. So that's really what it's about, helping each other out. Let's move on to the next one. And Jonathan, I'll let you go ahead and take that as well, because it has to deal with sign up and how people can start making that action to change their life.
All right, so it does take some fingerprints to get you into our system. That's the setup fee. And with every business, if you've got headcount taking care of somebody on the other side of the table, our new drivers have to be inputted into our Ride Local program. We're going to do the meet and greet, and that 99 value is going to be waived up until New Year's of 2019. So you got a few days, about a couple weeks left, and the only thing we're requiring right now is a background check. We do an intensive one for sex registry. We look at your driving report. So if you're a good driver and you're not going to show up on any of the sex registries, we really want you to consider working with us, build your business.
Right, right. All right, and then we get down to, obviously, we have our no monthly licensing plan until April, right? In order for people to design to build their rider base, because that's really what it is, to add to your rider base. The more you ride, right? You can only do so many, but if you can add to that ride and maximize your profitability on it. The other thing is your background check. There's a requirement of $39.95. In order to process that, it generally takes 3 to 7 days. There's a driver sign up on the bottom of this page as well. Obviously, you can go to ridelocalgr.com at any time, and there's information on there. A lot of information you can get to deal with about what the program is about. I think the most important thing, and you mentioned it, John, that New Year's Eve, that 12/31, that is important. That is a deadline. I would encourage anybody to sign up early. I mean, a background check's $39.95. That's your investment in it. At the very least, you could drive for us in order to pay back your investment. And that would be what? Maybe one ride. So, I mean, that's how you can look at it. So get in on the ground floor, because that's important, because you see that no setup fee, $99 value. At one time we were paying, we had ideas of $199. A lot of people don't understand that, but there is costs associated to hourly labor to set people up in our system and to make them where they're good enough to be driving for the state of Michigan. But anyhow, we're going to go to the next one where we get more into the Driverpreneur licensing plans. Now, these don't really have anything to do with anything for anybody up until April. Right prior to that, so let's say you signed up on your right now, because we waived the initial fee, but you signed up, you did your background check, $39.95, right? And then you came April. Let's say you came by April and you think, my God, I just ain't doing it. This ain't worth it for me. Get out of it, man. Come back to us. Hey, not a problem. You know what I mean? The whole idea is that we know it will be beneficial to you. So I know by the time you get into April, guess what? I know even before April. And the only reason I know is because even though I'm behind the scenes on it, I'm out there. How can I know what's going on in the rideshare industry? I get a lot from John below. John gives me a lot of information, but there's another part of information I've gotten, and that's to go out and do it my own self. So I do it. So there's times where I've thought about, like, I'm not required to do it because obviously I'm not being supported by it. But I do regulate how much I'm making, and I take in consideration if I was being supported, how would that look like? So that's one thing I do. But the other thing with it is when I go out, I'm trying to find out information. I'm trying to find out how can we improve things, and getting feedback from riders, getting feedback from drivers. I also take Uber and Lyft, and that's to find feedback. Also gives me a good way to network, but also the feedback's more important than anything. If you have a good platform, people will go. I don't have to talk you into it. It's a good platform, and if you just figure about the 100%. So anytime that you are driving, and some of you guys on here aren't even driving, you haven't driven from Uber or Lyft, you thought about it, or maybe you never thought about it, but you're on here tonight because you're looking at a possibility. How can I make additional income? How can I supplement what I already do? How can I increase it and maybe even replace it, possibility? But even if I don't, how can I make enough money? I don't know. Buy your wife that nice dress you wanted to buy her, or maybe pay off the car, or maybe buy your son something for his because he's just went into hockey, and hockey equipment's expensive. Whatever that is, and whether that why is for you, it doesn't matter. We can help you fulfill that why, and it's our job to make sure not only you're profitable, but also you're successful. When we get down in here, the 3 plans we get into is the side hustle. We offer 3 of them on Ride Local. Mainly because people drive at different gauges. People drive for different reasons. The side hustle is for somebody who just wants to supplement their income. And I'll give you an example. We can break it down. But if you look on, I gotta get back to my screen. But if you look at the side hustle, it's 50 rides per month. Which really, if you break that down to 50 rides, average ride on I don't know, John, you can interact a little bit, but I was told the average ride is $11. Our ride on Ride Local is 23. So, I mean, what do you think? What's your average ride on your Uber Lyft, if you'd have to guess on that?
I think a conservative guess is $7.50. I'd ballpark it at $8. And when you look at the service fee for Lyft or Uber, and then the commission they're taking out of that, the unknown commission structure, it really depends on how many miles, how far away that trip is, and all of those parameters. But at the end of the day, it's how many rides are each one of these plans. The return on investment for a side hustle is a single day. You know, if you work for us for a single day, there's a good chance it's going to pay for itself, and that'll hook you up for a whole week. If you want to test full-time driving for a whole week, side hustle is a pretty good way to do that.
Yeah, and
Driverpreneurs.
And right now they don't have to, right? Because we're waiving it right now until.
Yeah.
So right now, if they signed up, there's no. I mean, the only cost there is a background check that is a state required. That's it. I mean, really, there's nothing. You can start taking rides right after that, right? And then. I mean, and I think when they start doing it, they see the difference. Just figure it out. 100% fares. Like right now, Uber's hiding all that information. I believe Uber, or not Uber, but Lyft. I believe Uber will follow suit down the road because don't want the drivers to see the breakdown of it. But on the side hustle, even at $8, you're looking at a total revenue of over $400, right? So if you're looking at over $400 at a $29.95 investment, look at 7%. Costs you 7% to do that amount. Now, are you going to do 400? No, that's bare minimum based on average. But what if the rides were $30? What if they're 22? What if some were 23? That's where the difference starts to arise. Is that when your average ride comes from Ride Local in the $20 range, and that's really what you can sink your teeth on. And there's some hours I have literally done $65 an hour. Now, obviously, I could probably do more if it's more concentrated on the platform of driving. But a lot of mine is just to play with it to see what type of figures I can kind of drum up or rides I can get based on dollar amounts. The second thing, all right, anyhow, everybody gets 100% of the fare miles, the minute miles, the wait time, cancellation, tips. And then every single tier has what we consider passive affiliate income opportunities. Now, obviously, we don't get into that because that's another video that we talk about. And also, as you get approved from the state, and then we launch you into after the greet and meet, and your vehicle inspection's all done, at that point, then we start getting into the affiliate passive income opportunities. We get into the middle one, which is a driverpreneur. That's up to 150 rides a month at $79.95 a month. And then obviously the 100%, just like all the plans. There's also passive affiliate income opportunities. What's the difference between the two on affiliates? Nothing. The only difference is because of the driverpreneur is going to be out on the road more, boots on the ground more than the side hustle with. Obviously, there's going to be a difference in dollar amount as far as what type of passive income they can obtain. The other thing we have is a VIP driverpreneur, which is our third and the Mac Daddy of all of them. And I've called it a Mac Daddy from the beginning. I guess I get that from good old Bernie. But anyhow, we have VIP driverpreneur, $139.95 a month, unlimited amount of rides. You can drive as many as you want. Also, the 100% on the payout, and it receives passive income. The difference between this one and all the other two is that there is a building platform to it, to build your platform by inviting drivers underneath you. Now, the whole idea of it is as you as a driverpreneur is to drive your drivers by inviting them underneath you, but develop them. Because the best scenario, if it's a 0.5% on sales, the best scenario is every one of your ones that you have invited, that you have helped build up to the level of VIP, because at that level, could you imagine your 0.5% of residual or your passive income? It could be extraordinary. That's really where it comes from. is the VIP Driverpreneur platform. Now, somebody says, well, God, I really like that, but I'm not at that level. I'm not to 138. Well, remember, we waiver it all until April 1st. So really, you don't have to make any election whatsoever. You can start out however. But why would you want to get to that level? Because that's where the Mac Daddy is. That's where the money's at. That's where you can still get independent or financial stability. And the other two, obviously, they're not going to be at the level of the Driverpreneur. But anyhow, I'm going to let you in on a secret, because the future of VIP Driverpreneur, and that's the Mac Daddy one, that's the one where the partnership really goes full blown, right? So that's the one that you really want to go to. Now, why would you want to get to the VIP Driverpreneur? Because of the $39.95 a month? Of course not. I can tell you why. Not because of unlimited rides as well. I can tell you, you get to the VIP Driverpreneur and you become into a program that we are working on today. And that program happens to take that Driverpreneur and turn them into what? An owner of multiple businesses. So that's how the whole thing, they build their platform by inviting drivers. They build a business into the Ride Local platform. We benefit because they're more of a partner, right? It makes sense. They're full-time, right? They're working as a driverpreneur. So we're going to give more to them as we go. So right now we're working on a platform where we can do that, where it's going to be the same platform. The difference is that we take them where we teach them how to scale that. So anyhow, let's get to the next one. Just remember to always think big, start small, and learn fast. So if you want to do it, you start on the side hustle and try to build your business. Let's say you start your business. Most of the biggest problem with Uber and Lyft is you're out there by yourself, so or any rideshare for that matter. Let's say you start your business, you get approved, everything's well to go. Well, guess what? Now we are, these guys down here, have a responsibility to you as a new driverpreneur, and that responsibility is to make sure that you are what? Profitable, and also your business is scaled on a quickly basis. We have what's called a pre-launch phase where we will put you on and give you tools and ideas on how to, if you stay on the plan, you'll be able to scale your business. So by April, I would say if you are very studious and you have a lot of passion and you want to build it, you want to 10x it, within a 30-day plan, you should be able to build it where you have an adequate supply of business to really say that now I have a platform of business ownership. And that's really where we want to get you to. If you have any questions, obviously you go to support@ridelocalgr.com. We'll answer any questions we can in a timely manner. And we get to our final slide, and I know this has been drawn out a little bit, but it will tell you there's a lot of information that we're trying to throw out at you. Our strength is in our unity. That's very important that collectively, and I'll say it again, collectively as drivers, will be the first platform, pretty much the first platform that literally puts the drivers together where they have a voice, they have a decision to make on how to build the business itself. Up on top, we have Ride Local application. If you click on that, it'll take you to a page, and that page will give you a few questions to ask, pertinent personal information, nothing really big. And then from that, you go ahead and submit it. And as you submit it, it will take you to the link that you need to do your background check. And then from that, we will proceed to getting your process. We do have a sign-up invite code, and the reason why we've established this, because we really want to know where our efforts are coming from. Are they coming from our webinars? Are they coming from YouTube? Where are they coming from? What direction? Facebook. So the sign-up invite code is RLW, which is Ride Local Webinar 1219, being the month of December of 2019. That will give us a way where we can gauge it and then find out. And if you have any questions, you can also hit us up on that as well. Our background checks will take usually 3 to 7 days. Vehicle inspections will take place after that at our meet and greet, where you get to meet myself, also Dawn, and then John. And then you also can see our facility here, as well as we will show you some other things about the business and get you ready to launch. We have that launch plan for your business, which is a Driverpreneur management system that we're going to enact with every driver. Drivers who sign up today, excuse me, we're offering a special where the first 10 applicants receive $10 off your background check. So for instead of $39.95, now we brought the price down to even lower at $29.95, and we'll email the discount code after your submission. So anyhow, the recruit drivers, the other thing is to recruit any drivers this year, because we really want to roll this out. You'll receive exclusive one-on-one VIP business new launch coaching session. And that coaching session will give you a lot of tips. It'll also give you some fundamentals that have been proven and used in the past. Now we open up the platform for questions and answers. I want to take a couple of them. I've already received a few questions. And the one that most intriguing to me is they said, you know, what if they get on the platform and the platform doesn't work, or, you know, they can't get riders? I mean, that's a question that they're asking, and it's and I would have to answer that. John, you want to answer that? How would we handle that as a company? I mean, really, there's some issues we're going to face that we're not going to know how to handle. So we'll look at each other. We'll say, oh, how would you want to handle that? So, and that's how we'll probably do on some things. But go ahead, John. What's your opinion on it?
All right. Right now, there are the three of us founders right now, and we have some drivers activated. We have some in queue.
Right.
It's a process. We're here to grow. We need to build the team to gain that momentum, to build a rider base so that there's demand from both sides and availability of drivers to hit those routes, hit those blocks. One of the strategies we've really nailed down is that we need to execute certain blocks of hours that each of us drive to build up a customer base so that we can execute ritual behaviors every day, and, you know, not burn us out, but also build on the other side of recruiting those drivers, pitching, you know, the 100% fair is pretty attractive from the driver's perspective. That gets people's eyes really big when I throw them a card and I come up to your driver's side window.
Hey, let me bring, it does, but there's one thing I want to bring up, because I'm sure there are some people out there, because you're taking some platforms. There are some platforms out there, not many, but there is a platform out there I'm thinking in the back of my head that offers 100%. The problem with it, it's more like a network marketing format than a real rideshare. The other problem is that they haven't launched. They've tried to launch many times. They still aren't launched. They're taking fees from people. They're not doing anything with it. So I get it's 100% fares. People say, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And it is. It is good. But you have to look at the other side of it, too, of what the support of it is. You know what I mean? Because we're not just providing 100% fares. That is just part of it. Because you can get 100% fair, but if you don't know what to do with it, or you don't know how to scale, you don't know how to build a business, you don't know about P&Ls, and you don't know anything about marketing procedures, you know what I mean? Then you're stuck. 100% fares is good, but you got to have the support behind it. You have to have systems in place in order to make sure you maximize 100%. Because if you took one ride a day with Ride Local, even though let's say it was triple than what you get from Uber, it doesn't matter. It's one ride a day. True? It's when you get more than one ride and scale it at that higher level. And that's where our business management coaching comes in, is to get them at that level. Or if they're experiencing, let's say, growing pains, or you know how people do in business, they really don't know how to talk to anybody or don't know who to talk to. And all the people they talk to, they don't want to talk to them because then they'll pass judgment on them. So generally, they don't know if they're getting good information or bad information. Does that make sense in business? So either you make the mistake and you take the bad information, make the mistake, you learn from it, or you get good information because your sources and your network is good. Does that make sense? Because I can turn around and go ahead and go out and get information, but if my sources aren't good, my information is bad. And sometimes when it comes in business, you make a decision based on that can cost you a lot. You know what I mean? So it's very important to make sure that when you're getting these things from people, business people, or you're getting some type of tools, that you pass them by people. You always test everything you get to make sure it's the proper thing, because a lot of times you'll find maybe a bug in the procedure from somebody else, and then by you doing that, you'll see it and you'll perfect it. That will work for you. But it's very important to make sure that your sources are good. Because some people get bad sources and then they go a couple of years with bad information, and then, you know, either they get discouraged. I've seen business people get discouraged where they just struggle, never make profitability, and all of a sudden they give up. you know, so they have a bad taste in their mouth about being a business owner. So anybody ever mentioned business owner, oh, it's not, it didn't work, it's no good, right? It didn't work for
All right, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
If you've been frustrated and you've given Lyft or Uber a chance here in the Grand Rapids market or here in Michigan, we want to hear from you. If there's something holding you back, if it's
Right.
the $40 that's holding you back and you're like, yeah, I don't have the car, we can figure out the car situation. We can generate partnerships if there's a big enough demand. All we need is 5 cars to generate a relationship, a commercial relationship, to get very cheap access to rental vehicles here in Grand Rapids. I've talked to people at Enterprise, Avis, Budget, and some of the other ones that are at the airport, and there's cars available that aren't being used. So we go in there, say that we've got, let's say, for example, 15 drivers that want to dip their toe into giving us a shot, saying, you know, I've got a couple programs. I can sell 2 of these Explore Grand Rapids packages with round trip to a bar, for example. If I sell 2 of those a month and I carry those passengers to and from the bar, what's the profit on it? Because that's a good base example of saying, all right, I need to block out this car. You got 5 of them? Okay, what about an XL? If I take 5 or 6 people to the bar, that pays for itself right there.
Right.
That's one trip.
Right. And then some cases too, because you have drivers because of our affiliate, you know, as far as Explore Grand Rapids. So you have situations where you have drivers are out there, they're picking up riders, they're out in the market, right? Their boots are on the ground, but they also get to meet maybe people that work in restaurants, maybe people that work in venues, maybe an owner or manager, a general manager, because I've done that before. And then it gives our reach a little bit farther where we start bridging relationships as a driver, right? I know it's on the platform, you know, with Explorer and all that, but we start bridging those relationships with those drivers, and then it brings us into the local venues. So, I mean, it's, and a lot of people say local. Yeah, not everything's local. Even though it's local here, we don't consider it local. So not everything's local. So our big thing is not so much to drive traffic to, I guess, a local business, so to speak. It's more or less to drive it to local owned businesses. So does that make sense? Because I know there's some businesses that haven't gotten much play because, you know, a lot of business owners don't know a lot about SEO or lead generation and stuff like that. And in some cases, they don't make it, you know, because, I mean, obviously it's not an easy thing to do is to scale a restaurant, especially a restaurant, because of the margins. But if possibly they could have been on a platform such as ours where we're driving, literally taking people in this town and taking them down to their venue. That makes a big difference. I was talking to one of the restaurant partners and I was asking her, what's your most important thing in this restaurant? And she says, well, our labor cost. I think food cost is up there too. And I said, you're right, they are high, but you want me to tell you what's the most important is that empty seat you got there. Because every time those seats are empty, you're not making nothing. So what if I could drive those seats and fill them? Right? What if ordinarily the people who sits in that seat are $100? Let's say ordinarily. Let's say I drive people to that seat and I ask for $80, right? $20, right? So now they're getting 20 versus 100 because I drove it. It's a heck of a lot better than nothing. So that's really what it's about. It's about taking those seats in people's local restaurants and local venues and filling them. Because a lot of times people have made indication to me through my travels is that a lot of times they don't know what's going on in Grand Rapids, and then it's not until they see it on the news or they hear from somebody else says, oh, I didn't know he was here, or I didn't know that was going on. That's what we want to kind of stop a little bit and open that up, because really that's no one benefits on that. The people and the public don't, because they don't get a chance to experience it, but also the local business doesn't benefit because why? They're not driving enough traffic to the restaurant. When really those customers are there, it's just you got to direct them somewhere. You know, you got to bring them somewhere. So if I'm PF Chang, I have customers, and I might even have customers on the northeast side, right? But now if I institute some type of total transportation around my venue as a restaurant owner, guess what happens? Now I start driving people. All right, and that's the main important thing. All right, let's wrap it up right here. John, if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to us again at support@ridelocalgr.com. I want to sign off a little bit here and have Dawn say something at the end to kind of close this out. Just remember that the sign up is until the 31st, which is New Year's Eve. And also, if you are going out New Year's Eve and you want a safe ride, or you want somebody to have a safe ride, or you're looking for a free ride because you have never used our platform and you just want to use it for shoots and giggles, go ahead and use it. Go ahead and get on our website and go ahead and download the QR code and go ahead and use us. We'd be happy to get you home safe this holiday season. All right, Don, why don't you go ahead and finish off and say goodnight to the folks?
Okay, I just want to also let you guys know how important security and safety is to us. There's a lot of bad crap that goes on in the cars, and so what we do is we have different measures. We have 911 automatically on the app. We also have cameras in some of the cars. We really would like the drivers to have cameras in there just for their safety and for others as well. So with that being said, just think about us, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks, Don. Yeah, John, go ahead.
Guys, I'm really excited about the community. I'm eager to build relationships with these bar and restaurant and music venue operators in the front and back of the house. I think the relationships I build with other passionate drivers who want to talk business, want to learn to be, passive income entrepreneurs. There's no reason why we can't spin this into different flywheels for real estate, side gigs, side hustles, and more, aside from just driving and driving traffic to these business partners that we've discussed today. There's no reason why we can't start in Amazon, AWS system. There's a lot of things we can do. So
right, and I think collectively as a group, those are the things that we can bring to the table, and we can talk about, what makes more sense for our company to go forward. A lot of it has to do is, to open up our platform, get the people to experience us, the difference in the ride, the difference in the security and being safe and being comfortable and fun and also affordable, because that's really what we want to do. I want to touch a little bit about a ride to work program that we've instituted, and the reason why we've done it to bring the cost down to people that are struggling to get to work. So in order to prevent that, what we have compassion for, but we've opened up a program which really can get you to work daily on a lot cheaper amount of cash outlay. It will be more affordable to you. In that case, as far as drivers go, it's nice with you because you get a pre-scheduled job that's generally 5 days a week or 3 days based on the rider. But that's something that we want to do. We believe that it can be a big platform based on pre-scheduled rides. And that's really where we're going to. The now rides are there. They always will be there. But the pre-schedule gives people an opportunity to take advantage of it. A lot of Uber and Lyft has talked about mainly just the people that are taking the rides. I want to talk to people that haven't taken rideshare to let them know that it is a safe alternative to get home. And the second token, it's also in some cases could be more affordable than owning your own vehicle and paying for gas and maintenance. But anyhow, that's a whole new subject, and that's something we'll talk down the road. There's a lot of things that we are doing. We are talking right now about a lot of things to eliminate some problems. Me and John and Dawn, we just had a discussion dealing with a rider. What if they get in an accident, the car goes in the shop, they don't have a loaner? What do? Their income stops. The other way, God forbid, but they got in an accident that was devastating and it totaled the vehicle. There's another situation where they can lose lost work days. That's what we want to do. We want to come up with a system where we can eliminate that. That way it will give you a driver a sense of security, a sense of peace, and also knowing that someone's got their back as well. So it's all about us as drivers to join together, help each other out, because we can collectively make a difference in this town and other towns in the state of Michigan. We do have plans, and the only reason we do it is because we've had a lot of interest in the Detroit area. So we do have plans of opening up Detroit we're thinking more like the spring of 2020. But We do have some that have signed up. They're in the system. They're getting ready to be approved. We're not sure of the launch date to be going to Detroit. We are ready for it. We're licensed for it. We're ready for it. Everything's ready. The only thing we want to do is make sure that we have the right drivers with the boots on the ground. We have our ducks in a row so we don't have to regress. We can just progress. Anyhow, welcome everybody to join us for our webinar. We're going to keep it consistent. It's going to be on Monday nights at 6 p.m. So just stay tuned for Monday nights at 6 p.m. Obviously, if you missed our broadcast, you can catch it up on a recording, and you can watch it either on YouTube channel or you can watch it on Facebook. If you get a chance, check out our Driverpreneur channel. You don't have to be a member in order to get value benefits from it. Check it out. There's a lot of good content on there, and there's also releasing content. If you do check it out, I would suggest, especially if you're thinking about being a driverpreneur, I would suggest that you at least subscribe and hit the notification bell. And the reason being is because we do come out stuff and we release it, and it's good to know and get that information firsthand. So that's really what we're going to try to do, is get that information to you. And we appreciate you being here and spending time with us. We appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about Ride Local and what we are doing. John, do you have anything you want to add to it before we close this out? Just if you have any questions, feel free to support ridelocal.com, gr.com. And if you want to direct it to any one of us particular, you can go ahead and mention that in the subject section, and then it'll be directed to the, to the correct priority. Thank you very much for joining us. We welcome you, and all of us are very passionate about helping you become the next driverpreneur in Grand Rapids, and we'll see you at the top.